people without depression and anxiety. What is life like? My best friend suffers from GAD and depression. I'm quite the opposite, rather a stress-free, positive person. It's hard to answer your question because I don't experience what you do. But the best way I would describe the difference between how I am and she is that I'm unburdened. Visually, it's like as if we all go through the journey of life picking things up, carrying them along the way, then putting them down, and picking new stuff up again. I and people like me tend to carry a few items, some good some bad, but mostly we let the stuff go, while my best friend is dragging all of this stuff and can't seem to put it down. The ex who cheated, the job that rejected her, the pet rabbit that died when she was in 5th grade, her parents' lack of retirement savings, dog's poor health, that one guy in 8th grade who said her nose was too big, the friend who talked behind her back, a C she didn't deserve, the boss who didn't appreciate her, the pounds she couldn't lose. It's all there all the time suffocating her. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm not necessarily bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but I'm not burdened by these bad feelings from these bad experiences. I have put them down and left them behind at some point in my life. Sure, there might be some new ones, but they will eventually get left behind too. She hasn't let any of them go. I wish I could help her put them down and move forward. I really love your explanation. I'm a person that finds it so hard to move on from good or bad things. It's like I'm always stuck in the past. Everyone gets stuck sometimes. People who blithely go through life never burdened by what happens also tend to live on the surface. Shallow. But happy. This is why, when people ask what advice I would give to my past self, I say, drop out, get high, play music, and learn how to live. Because in this life I did everything right and now I'm a broken, anxious, neurotic mess and never learned to relax or enjoy anything. It's a lot better than when I had it. I can actually do stuff like go to class and call people. I have it in waves and it's so upsetting to one day get a bunch done, almost finished tasks, and make steps for the better and the next struggle to even get out of bed. It's pretty solid. I sleep reasonable hours. I get up and walk my dog. I make and eat 3 square meals a day for my family. I work on projects that give me a sense of completion and self-satisfaction. This post brought to you by taking my meds every day and being vigilant about my mental health. I know this winter is going to be tough, but right now, I'm solid. I have a friend who doesn't experience it. It's actually amazing to be around her. It's not like she never gets mad, it feels hurt or whatever, but it doesn't consume her. She has massive self-confidence. It's the weirdest ducking thing. For a long time I thought she was shallow, but it's not really that. She just doesn't experience depression or anxiety. We talked about it once. She was like, yeah, I really feel bad for people. It seems awful. Why did you think she was shallow? I have nothing to complain about, and I just chill. Serious question though, how do you positively know that you haven't been afflicted by this mental illness? Let me draw my perception on this. I just chilled. Brushed off whatever easily, because I've always had a thick carapace. My first words into any meaningful conversation happened at 15 years of age. I observed and learned. Pitched in a word or 3 here and there. Fast forward, I have great days. Good day. Sometimes a bad one or one very emotional. All good. Fast forward another 5 years, and then I observed myself. Was able to draw correlation to days that were not as good as the good ones. Fast forward another 5 years and, yup, that was it. I had put my finger on it, on why I would go dark for 1 to 60 days at a time. I'm genuinely interested in knowing more about how you go by. Perhaps you feel it coming and adapt. Sensing your yin yang or chemical levels within. I realized a long time ago I would start simping, because all I wanted was to be cared about. Since my parents always thought of me as retarded and all of my friends eventually left me. But earlier this month I was messing around with a Discord bot app using a phone feature which let you communicate with other people throughout Discord who with other peeps also had the bot and were using the phone. Me and a girl started chatting, and she asked to add me so I did. She started flirting with me, and I caught the signals. I don't have anything to really complain about, so I guess I'm fine right now. but to help ease my depression before that I would listen to sad music so I can hear someone who was legit and could relate. Obviously not Billie Eilish though. She's fake ASF. Right. Cool. Good on you for rolling the wave, if I may. With those friends that left, do one thing and reach out to get closure. They were friends for a reason. They are not anymore for a reason. Getting closure is a nice self-good that you can do. They exist. Edit. My older daughter is amazing at it. She feels it come on, and she just pushes it away like it's nothing more than a simple annoyance. Then there's me, and her younger sister who hear the wind blow wrong, and we're wondering when the earth is ending, and we play that in our brain for 12 hours straight. Oh, and also the memory of getting embarrassed 8 years ago at 3 in the morning. Those always help. The memory of getting embarrassed, don't worry. That will not happen as much as you grow older. Then you'll realize that nobody remember that except you, and even if someone remember, it not that a big deal for him/her, and even if it's a big deal for him/her, well, you can just choose not to care. Grow older? How much older? I'm 46. I mean, I don't actively think about it, but when my brain is idle, shit pops into it, and it's just cringe-worthy. It goes away right after. But it's like, hey, thanks for that brain. Lol. You're not alone. 41 here and with the memory of an elephant. Exhausting. I was diagnosed with depression and PTSD about 7 years ago. Went through therapy for several years. Was declared stable in 2016. It took a while to feel normal again. Wean off SSRIs. Get my libido back. And feel like myself. These days, I feel capable. I feel highs and lows. I'm able to perform at work and as an adult with a family. The tools I learned and time I spent in therapy were the greatest investments of my life, and I use them every day. Without the support I received and the work I did, I would be dead. I'm so glad you were able to get through that. Therapy is always a big help and should be advocated more. I'm so proud that you achieved a place where you are stable and living well. As a mostly recovered depressed person, it's losing the feeling of having a feeling in your chest all the time of always having to do something, most of the time something useless, and b, not being able to get out of bed without trying really hard. It is amazing. Trust me. If you can fight your depression and anxiety, and you can, I believe in you, then life is wonderful. Being an optimist is the trait that I'm most proud of, and I know I'm the luckiest person in the world to never have had to struggle with depression. You're one of those, lol. Honestly, when one is deep in the dumps, optimistic people can be very annoying. The worst ones are the toxic positivity people that tell you to smile when you feel like dying. I know for a fact that people who haven't experienced anxiety or depression can be quite annoyed by those who do. I've heard it more than once. I'm curious. How do you feel when you see someone being sad or pessimistic? Do you get it, or do you think they are being negative? You know what I mean? It's just hard to understand why they like that, because I'm ignorant to the feeling. But I'm definitely not annoyed by it, and I try to make sure I don't get too annoying by being too happy around them. I also attempt to be supportive, but not much, if you know what I mean. Because of exactly what you said. It may get annoying when someone is too optimistic. You're one of the good ones then. I work for a toxic positive person, so when I have a bad day, I also have to apologize for not being especially cheery. It makes everything even worse and makes me feel so alone in the world. Ironically, what I wish for the most is to be free of this and feel like life is great and all is wonderful. Well, I'm just really lucky to have a lot of people who care about me, and I feel like the best thing I can do is make them smile and be as happy as possible. I would assume nicer, but there are times where I get in a deep hole and wondered if I have depression. But give me a day and I dig myself out of that hole and it's like nothing ever happened until it happens again. But that's life and I won't be normal or be able to grow without those moments. Sounds a lot nicer than what I go through. The hole just keeps getting deeper, then collapses. Then I'm paralyzed for at least 2 days. And then it takes a week to get out. I'm glad you use those moments to reflect and grow. Pretty ducking great. Thanks for asking. I've been suffering from depression for a smidge over a year. I've been seeing a therapist and I've been getting better. But it still affects me. Sometimes badly out of nowhere. Last night I microdosed on shrooms for about 8 hours. Around hour 4 or 5 the anxiety from the come up disappeared and I was overcome with a strong sense of comfort and self-awareness. I was incredibly comfortable in my skin and with who I was as a person. I felt whole. Maybe even more whole than I felt before the depression started. I continued to microdose for the next 3 or so hours. It was like being wrapped in a protective blanket of confidence and courage. I became more talkative and self-assured. I no longer cared about how I was viewed, and it felt nice. More than nice. Amazing. I don't believe it cured anything. But it let me live in that space for a while, and gave me a chance to explore it. I feel like, if I do this semi-often enough, I might be able to trick myself into feeling it more often. I have noticed my anxiety is much lower today than most other days. I hope it lasts for a little while. We will see. The same happened to me after trying LSD. The afterglow is amazing. I started crying. BC life felt wonderful. Sort of carried me through the next week, and then depression was like, hey girl, remember me? It was like escaping a toxic person and then being kidnapped by them. It definitely may help to continue. Just be careful about how often you do it, and remember bad trips can happen to the most experienced PPL. The most extreme case you may go insane and it'll possibly ruining your life. So PLS, be safe. LSD may be safer if you have a good dealer. BC the dosing is way more accurate than shrooms. IDK how different the two are. But remember to drink water too, or have a trip sitter. 3 if in repeating info you know. I just want PPL to be careful. I know some PPL who duck themselves up for a while. Seems like 95% of people on Reddit prefer to roll over and die, apparently. It's great. Once you stop giving a duck you start to actually live. Most of all your problems are created in your own mind. Learn to control your thoughts and you'll see a different you. It's zen. Only way to get above it. I don't have depression, but my wife does. It sucks. Are you? Or does she proactively do anything about it? It's a slippery slope that can be alleviated. Not cured I don't think. But worked with absolutely. Pretty good TBH. I enjoy today right now, and am no longer looking forward to enjoying something in the future. I do things because I want to, and I have desires. I take risks now because I've been able to fight the urge to not fail by not trying monster. It's nice. It's fine. All the questions like what is this for? What's the point of living, etc. don't get answered. They just kind of disappear. Like you don't need a specific thing to keep you going, or a reason, because everything is fine. And when you're down, it's usually because a thing happened, or you haven't eaten or slept enough, or possibly it's hormones. But you have reasons and ways to fix things. And you're never in that weird emotional void without feelings of any kind. Keeping it together while everybody is trusting in your stability. I can do more. I think depression makes someone unwilling to want more, while anxiety compounds on it by giving a reason why something should be avoided. I fight for what I want. For me personally, that's a lot of the struggle right there. Sometimes I can fight for this and accomplish my goals, and then I get stuck in a place where I struggle for a long time to decide that I'm worthy of a better life, followed by a period of analyzing every possible negative outcome before I can make myself act. I'm happy for you and slightly envious. Either just chill as duck, most, or wildly narcissistic and or greedy and or a whole spectrum of strange shit. The strange thing about the world is the negative things seem to have many more permutations than the good things. Not that this necessarily means the good isn't as powerful, just that it seems to fit a narrower window. Look up the Anna Karenina principle. There are lots of different ways for things to go wrong, and any one key factor being broken can mess up the whole system. In contrast, for everything to be good in general, all of those key things need to be working, and hence relatively similar. That might be why you're noticing a much wider range of unhealthy than healthy people. Complicated, too, but with different complications. I wouldn't ever consider depression and anxiety just complicated, so that's a perfect example of how someone without it just doesn't get it. Slash. Good question, mate. There is no such thing as what you just said. Pretty good. I really should have it, but luckily I can say mind over matter and that works for me. Most of the time it is hard, but there is enjoyment to be found in that or any other times. I'm sorry to hear about your depression. I hope it gets at least a little better someday. Thank you for the words. I'm trying to get better, but I had a recent slip and got to thinking. I hope life treats you well too, and have a nice day. Life is easy. Life is hard. It is both. At any given moment, I try to say, why not me instead of why me? Life is always good. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.